All right. So let's take a look at this. We've got applying for licensing and credentials. Yes, I do remember seeing this. So, and this was part of the PowerPoint they did in their webinar when they shared these new things with us. So talks about, okay, this obviously talking about how you get your points, where you can get your points. So we won't go through all of that. Let's talk about anything that's interesting here. Bachelor degree in ECE, 33 points, experience 8 years. This is an example. It looks like, yep, 44 points. They've got formal education, experience, professional development. They have 3 categories. And then this may be a different example, 16, 15, 10, and 3 for another 44 and 4 categories. And this talks about how to apply. Okay, so that was helpful. I was looking for kind of, I love and live by that where it talks about how many points in the different areas. I bet there's a link in here. Well, let's just go with this, 25 points, because we're all starving for ECTs, for lead teachers. So 25 points, someone correct me if I'm wrong, with points from 2 different areas, might be 26. Do I hear a first or a second on that? Is it 25
21
points? It's 21. Thank you. Thank you. So 21 points, but you need points from 2 different areas, right? So 1,365 hours, which is 9 months full time, roughly. You can probably do it in 8 or 8.5. And that is an experience. You would get 1 point in experience, and then you jump into ongoing professional development. You get 20 more points. You can do this in a weekend. So I had someone that completed 31 hours of PDIS courses. She had maybe 8 to go into the weekend, and she got her 31. So she maxed out of 15 points there in PDIS. We set her up with an online subscription to accomplish some CEUs. With 1 CEU, she had 5 more points. That got her 20. She had 1,500 hours of experience, so less than 1 year. That took her to level 2. So document that, you have an ECT. That to me is the fastest way without formal education. So easiest way for formal education with ECE classes like Intro to Early Childhood, that gets you 1 point. You get your 20 points over here in professional development, done. Can we talk about the formal education, this component here? And if somebody has that kind of the graphic of, I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share real quick. With regard to what I noticed in the formal education is previously I would have staff that would apply for formal education points with a degree in business administration, and that was thrown out because it was an unrelated field. What I understood from the webinar is that that bachelor's degree in business administration would still qualify, it would now qualify for 10 points, as opposed to a related field, which would qualify you for like 15 points for a related bachelor. Can I get a second on that? Am I understanding and running away with that information correctly?
Yeah, from what I can tell, it's like 5 points for an associate's, 10 for a bachelor's, like 15 for a master's, all unrelated. And then some of the new changes that they've done for like in the rules and regs, some of those higher related degrees are no additional experience required. So it's a little bit separate from going the PDIS credential route. But all of those unrelated now count, and the related just count for more points.
Right. But from the PDIS credentialing standpoint, it helps you get, I mean, if they have an associate's degree, they can get to level 2 by knocking out those PDIS classes, because that gets them points in 2 different areas. So if you have anybody with any formal education, 1 ECE class or an associate's degree or larger, they can sprint to level 2 through ongoing professional development.
Kirk, one point I wanted to point out, what I'm very excited about with this formal education piece is that they no longer expire.
So what does that mean? A degree that was attained 20 years ago is still valid,
Yes,
whereas in the past, did it expire after 15 years or it wasn't counted?
correct. It did expire. Mhm. So that's a new addition. The points do not expire. Once
Well,
you
and
have,
Carly, correct me if I'm wrong, but I also believe that I saw that your EQIT and pyramid training now count as formal education points as well. Is that correct?
Desta, you took the words out of my mouth. Yes.
Sorry.
So EQ, no, I'm glad you brought it up. EQIT is 2 points, and pyramid plus, or pyramid Colorado, which is we're changing to now, is 2 points. If you're going through the pyramid model training right now, I want to specify that. I apologize. The pyramid model that we are offering right now through PCF does not account for these formal pieces. PDIS and Pyramid Model Plus, or Pyramid Colorado, is working with each other to validate those now, but the course that we're offering right now does not fall under these guidelines, if that makes sense. It does go for, continuing educations, but it's not a special, training of special recognition. But it will be. Will be soon. I apologize if I'm mixing anybody up. So feel free to reach out to me or Daisy if you have more questions about that specifically. But
and I just wanted to throw out there, thank you, that ECE 101 and 103 are going to be reimbursed by the state. So anybody that wants to take intro classes at any college in the state of Colorado, they will be basically free, which is wonderful. And then there's college course, I'm sure Judy can speak to this, but we have scholarships for other coursework and that kind of thing if anybody's interested in formal education, as well as CDA, EQIT. Those two can go towards college credit, and either Judy or myself can help with any of that stuff. So if you have questions there, that's a new yay, that there's going to be funds available for at least those two courses that can lead to certification.
One of the questions I received recently was, what is the likelihood that the state of Colorado will revert back to the previous requirements for ECT for large center director? So they've lightened up the requirements when it comes to points and so forth. I can only imagine that this is a permanent change moving forward. But has there been any conversation about this is the new standard moving forward, as opposed to a large Band-Aid during what is obviously a major staffing and employment hiring challenge?
I haven't heard anything about that specifically. I mean, they're updating regs, they're updating all sorts of different things. I know the idea is to try to merge licensing and quality, because sometimes they don't match. So a lot of that is trying to clear those lines up. Could I promise that they're not going to change something on us again? I will never say that. But hopefully the purpose is to assist and help things not be so complicated and clean.
And that makes sense. However, one might make the argument that this ease of the regulations would result in a move away from quality. If we're putting less qualified, less experienced teachers in front of classrooms and giving them the ability to be in charge, there could be an argument. I'm not going to make that argument. I don't think anybody that's in HR trying to hire great, amazing individuals is going to make that argument. But if licensing and quality are moving together, this is a step away from quality. I think that argument can be made. However, it's also a step, a huge step toward shoring up and helping in creating an opportunity to be compliant and to give some peace a little bit. It's a big carrot is what it is for us to be able to staff our classrooms with. So that's only where my hesitation is in thinking that this is the future. So we've got on the agenda, we've got a few things here. Quality improvement dollars and council MOUs signed by January 7th. The money on the floor went up. Milestone Awards, ECE, scholarship, CDA, college, EQIT, director certificate. So that came all from your department. Stephanie, do you want to kind of take that direction and we can chat about those things?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So quality improvement dollars, Daisy and Carly are trucking through, working with providers. We still have a window basically for any sites that would like to access these dollars. They do need to sign an MOU with us. They can reach out to Daisy or Carly if they're interested, but those are going to be open for anybody to sign by January 7th. I think is what we said, January 7th. And then anything after that would be reviewed on a case-by-case basis, just because all spending has to be done by the end of March. So we want to make sure that we can get it done and y'all can get it done. And it's spent well. The floor, that money, I know I reported on this, but just want to remind everybody that all providers, each one, it's an extra $700 to that. So there's a little bit more money, and this money again is available to providers every single year, whether you're going through quality or not. So it's a couple grand that you can push towards new supplies and things like that. And there's some other nuances that we found using this. There's some kudo awards where you can give some staff kind of kudos. So that's nice to know. So be working with Carly or Daisy if you're interested in that, but we are going to try to have that open for a period of time, and then we're hitting the ground with coaching and getting those dollars spent down and getting those orders in. So that's what we'll be focused on from January through March to help you guys access that. Milestone Awards, folks that level up, if you go from a 1 to a 2 or beyond, there are monies that are going to be awarded for that. So anybody that goes to that next level, there's extra money that will also be available to providers, that it'll show up in your QRIS just like you spend quality dollars. But that can also be just cut as a check. If you're like, I don't want to fool with this and order stuff off of here, you can actually get a check cut for those Milestone Awards. And then the early childhood scholarships, I think Judy's on, so I might have her go ahead. And Carly, was there anything you wanted to add with quality? And then I'll have Judy talk about what scholarships are available.
I think you touched on all of them. Again, just reaching out to Daisy or I sooner than later so we can get that process going. If you do have a current MOU and haven't started your spending, let's get on that too. We just really worry about those deadlines and getting those things. And as most of you know, we have a shipping issue that a lot of people are seeing now. And so those raise even more concerns than our already perceived deadline. So just keep those kind of things in mind and let us know. We'll help you with your spending.
And I had just a question about that. So it's my understanding that you have to be at a level 2 to sign the MOU and move forward with those quality improvement funds. Is that correct?
That's correct, Dusty.
Okay, so you have to achieve your level 2 application submitted and processed before you can open up the QI funds.
That's correct.
Okay, just checking.
And Daisy, Dusty, you and I can chat some more. Feel free to reach out. I know we've been having this conversation a bit, so feel free to
Okay,
reach out.
sounds good.
And just as a general basic question, it's been a little bit, but what I remember about going to level 2 is one of those requirements is getting a portion of your staff, maybe 75% of your staff, to complete 10 PDIS courses. Obviously, level 1 is meeting the basic licensing requirements, but beyond making some that and getting what else is required of getting to a level 2 so you can take part in that.
Thank you. That's a great point. So like you said, we think of level 1 as meeting licensing requirements. Level 2 is getting staff onto PDIS. And again, there's a % of your staff have to have a completed individual professional development plan, which is an IPDP, a self-assessment, and then your courses on PDIS. And if you need help with that, again, reach out to your QI navigator and we can support you with that. I know PDIS is helpful for some and not so helpful for others. So we can try to help navigate that as best as we can, but at least get you an idea of what you're looking at if that's the road you're ready to take.
Wouldn't it be a fair statement to say that 100% of your staff are going to set up an account through PDIS? Because when it comes to things like mandatory reporter, I think standard precautions is there, and some of these others, safe sleep, those type of things, they're already that far along.
Mm-hmm.
And
so really that next step, sorry, Kirk, is getting your staff to go in and into their employment status and register as I'm Carly with PCF. And so then as a director, you can go in and verify your staff. And that's one portion of it, is verifying the staff in PDIS. And
Yeah,
absolutely, they're already in there.
Yep. It's not a daunting task. It takes a little time, right? And it takes them getting into the office and stuff. But one of the things, I mean, I try to get my staff onto a wage increase January 1. And my fiscal year for my continuing education is March 1 to the end of February. And so I try to encourage my staff through raises. Sometimes it works for some, not for others, that hey, you need to get your 15 hours of continuing education completed before Christmas, so your wage would go into effect, your raise January 1. And if you don't, well, no problem. You can finish them in January, then your raise would go into effect in February. And if you don't, no problem. We'll push your raise out till the beginning of March and you have the month of February to get it done. It gives me a 2-month buffer to be compliant, making sure they get all their hours in there. And if you're looking at a 1 trying to get to level 2, or it doesn't matter what level you're at or whether you are at a level or not, they're required to get 15. You might use that and kind of tie that into their wage increase. Put it on them to get their training done.
Carly, I had a quick question, and you and I speak all the time, so I'm not worried about it. But just to like really clarify, so I'm at a level 4, but I haven't updated my stuff in a while in QRS. And so I know you and I had talked about that might be a requirement. Can we still sign the MOU even if we're working on our QRS? Because that's what's taking me forever. I just haven't had time to get in there and get it done. And I don't want to miss out on the funding. But if it's something that I absolutely have to do, I will go in there and try and get it done. But with the holidays and now we're short-staffed and everything else, I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, send me an email and we can work together on getting that process going. Absolutely.
Okay.
I hear you. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because another concern that I have, or that we've been running into, is I've got people working on classes that say that they're level 2, and then they are not showing up under their level 2. And then we're having to reach out to the help desk, which is taking unknown amounts of time to get back to work through those things with us. And so I'm also really concerned about that. I'm pushing my staff really hard to get it done. But now we're kind of at the mercy of whether or not the help desk gets to us in time or not.
And so I think your two situations are a little bit different because one is updating information where the other one is achieving that level. And so Dusty, again, send me an email and you and I can chat. It might be saying something in the PDIS system saying, urgent, leveling up, milestone award, things like that, that might trigger a little more urgency. And I don't know that if that's true, but it would at least be a step in the right direction, I feel like.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And send me an email, Dusty. You and I can chat about this some more, because like everyone has been saying, we don't want to miss out on this opportunity. So, and this will be here every year. So
Dusty
this
mentioned level
increased.
2. And again, for a little bit more clarification, when you're looking at getting 31 hours in PDIS to attain 15 professional development points, do they have to be level 2 or not?
Let me just check for clarification. Level 2 coursework in PDIS or level 2 in quality piece?
I don't know how to answer that. For an individual, if you go into PDIS and you're taking courses, we always used to look and go, oh, make sure that's a level 2. So you hover and it says level 2. But most recently, I think I received clarification that it does not have to be a level 2 class to count toward your 31 hours.
It does have to be a level 2 course.
Okay, got it. Okay.
But just keep in mind, a lot of those level 2 they could be meeting licensing requirements, and they most definitely will count towards your continuing 15 hours needed annually.
Great. Any more conversation, anyone, about any of these new modified rules and regs that all went into effect December 1? All right. I want to jump in just a little bit to some items that I threw on the agenda. One of them is, what are you doing with your rates, and what are you considering as far as the first of the year? I do want to share this again because as we deal with challenges, I'm a firm believer that it's easier to deal with business challenges and running in the operations when we have money in the bank. And a big part of that is where are you at with your rates? And if you are heavy on the CCAP side, your rates have a lesser impact. If you're lighter on CCAP, they have a greater impact. And I love Thanksgiving and the holiday season, but I hate November for a reason that I always announce my rate increases December 1. So about halfway through November, I start the anxiety building up because I do not like raising my rates on families. It's not one of the things I enjoy doing. However, it's a must. I can remember you're skipping a rate increase. I can remember going 50 cents, thinking, I just gave them a little bit, $1. This year was the greatest rate increase that I've ever done. And it gave me a heart attack. So where are you on raising your rates? I've heard people say, I wait till the summer, or I do it at the beginning of the school year. I'll just make my one quick argument that I raise them January 1. I raise my rates January 1 for many reasons, but I don't have families that are shopping for care January 1. It's in the middle of the school year. They're set in our program. They're happy if we're doing our job. And again, everybody's in the middle. It's like a big road trip. And if you get in halfway through that road trip, you're staying on course. And so I also raise them January 1 because that's when wages raise. It's a natural time of the year where we know that expenses go up. I don't raise them August 1st or at the beginning of the school year because that's when people are shopping for care. That's our biggest enrollment season. So I would rather have them come in on our current rates, let's say 2021 rates in August, fill our program, and then raise our rates once we're halfway through the school year. Doesn't that make sense? It's like Black Friday comes, everybody's thinking, oh, I need to shop for Christmas. And the retailers raise all the rates right after Thanksgiving. They wouldn't do that. They want to provide discounts or incentives to come and spend your money. And then, in January after the holidays, they'll raise their rates. So I really find that's a really important time successful time for me. I'm going to share my screen real quick here and show you a tool that I use for trying to gauge. I kind of want to grab a different one. Let me see here. I'm going to stop. I'm going to think for a minute on where that tool is. Does anybody have any thoughts or comments so far as rates, where you're at, how you're doing? Are you raising? Are you hanging in there? Do you have concerns about that? Anything like that?
So I just wanted to ask everybody, because they did do the CCAP increase, but it's only for 1 year. Are you guys going to stay at that rate, or are you going to lower your rates back down after CCAP? You know, because you can't undercut CCAP. You have to charge that maximum rate that they're charging. Are you guys going to stay at that rate, that higher rate?
So I'm always conscious of CCAP, and I really challenge you not. I challenge you to keep up with CCAP, and we're aware that CCAP raised them, right? Just kind of in the wake of COVID, for sure. However, even when COVID's gone, something else is coming. And so to answer your question, my rates won't adjust when CCAP rates come down.
Okay.
Mine won't. And I would just encourage people to really consider whether or not they would do that or not. Yeah.
I didn't do the increase with CCAP just because I'm already at a level 4. So my rates are already high. And I just know with my private pay families, it would be way too high for them. So I just stuck at my level 4 because it was, it'd be nice to have that extra money for that year. It would be really nice. But then after that year goes away, it's not beneficial to the private pay families.
Right.
So I was just curious what you guys do.
Yeah. Got it. It's all stuff we got to consider. Absolutely. All right. I found what I wanted to share with you real quick. So let me go back to share my screen here. So this is a tool that I use, and you're welcome to it. And so, for example, we've got, this is my scenario at our Fruita Center. So we've got 5 1-year-olds, 6 2s, and then we've got 20 kids in our 3-year-old classroom, 44 between 2 classrooms, and then we have school agers. So 45, this is our 2021 rates here at Discovery Kids at both centers. And so for our 1-year-olds, we charged 45, our 2s were 41, and then 3, and I have this 3 in potty trained all the way till 10, 11, 12 is 37 a day. 21 would be a before and after school rate. So days per year, 250. What is this? 250 there too. And then these are like all the non-school contact days throughout the year. So what I can do with this is kind of gauge like how much, what if I wanted to raise my rates just $1 across the board? By plugging this in there, it's just going to multiply the rate times, or the capacity times the rate times the number of days that we're open per year. That's going to give me this. It's going to do that same, adding $1 here. So what this tells me is that at 100% capacity, that could revenue all on private pay. This is skewed, right? Because we're not all private pay. 763,930. With the rate increase, it'd be 785, 260. That would increase at 100%, $21,330 a year. That would be the additional revenue on this scenario if everything was private pay at 100%. But then here's 90%, here's 80%. So if I'm going to try to average 90%, and I do maybe a little bit better, for example, I could estimate a gross revenue increase of 19,000. And if I'm 75% private pay, I could multiply that times 0.75 and estimate about $15,000 in additional revenue. Let's say we took our 2-year-old rate went up $2 and our 1-year-old rate went up $3. Well, now I'm closer to 23,000. Let's say we tipped up our everybody up to $2 a day. Now I'm up to 36,000. At 75%, 27,000. So I hope that when you're looking at your rates and you're trying to figure out how much total gross difference we're going to receive at the end of the year, you're using some type of a tool like this. Okay. Again, you're more than welcome to use this tool. And I'll show you here in a few minutes where you can grab that. We decided to take even a bigger leap this year. And that was a leap we took. We took our 3-year-olds up the equivalent of $60 a month, and our 2-year-olds up $80 a month, and our 1-year-olds up $100 a month. And that's a huge, this is why I'm not fond of December 1. And I've never had an increase like that. But when I look at the cost of payroll raises this year, and I think of this as 2 centers combined, but are going to be in the neighborhood of $40,000 plus. And so I've really got to try to stay ahead. And again, this is all based on 100% private pay, which we're not. But under this model at 90%, there's a $56,000 increase times 0.75, 42,000. So it's a simple tool. If you're using the center management tool that I've built in Google Sheets, this actually takes into account the portion of self-pay versus CCAP. And you can do the same thing by plugging in new rates here. You could literally put in your new rates and it would tell you down here what your revenue is at and what the difference of last year versus a projected next year based on your actual amount of self-pay families and CCAP households. And Jen, as you mentioned, CCAP raised their rates, right? So you could come in here and put whatever those rates are. Because I know some of them are that, but it just depends on what tier you're at, right? So there's, one of the things that I do enjoy spreadsheets. Unfortunately, I enjoy fishing also. I just find myself required to look at these more than I do the end of my fishing rod. But I am more than happy to share this with you. I'm more than happy to help customize your program. And we've simplified this to keep track of classrooms and what days kids enroll. And there's lots of other things in here that you can utilize to help keep track of your program. But everything here flows into a tool to figure out where you're at. The other thing I wanted to share real quick was this here was a payroll review tool. And I know I've done this before, but this is the time where we're raising our rates. And again, this can all be customized for a classroom where you have a staff member, how many hours they're working, how much they're getting paid. If there's a rate increase, this person's going to get $2 an increase. This person's going to get 50 cents. And it tells you how much you have in payroll, how much gross revenue that classroom is generating, and how much gross profit after payroll that class brings you. And it just kind of allows you to really kind of figure out which classes are helping you cover your expenses and which classes you might be struggling in. So more than happy to share those tools. They're all here. We've got our treasure chest that we've been building and working on for a couple of years, and we've got it just about completely ready to launch. So this is available to all Mesa County providers. There's no cost to you. All I have to do is share your email, and you can come in here and get in here and utilize any of these tools in here. So there's tools just on a waiting list in here that you can grab it, make a copy of it, use it for yourself, all that good stuff. So the rate sheet is in there. This is just a waiting list in Excel. This is, I think this is a menu that's coming up. So you can grab a menu and so forth. So there's lots of great tools in there. But I share that because I want you to think about where you're at as far as your rates. And if you need help with some of the math, trying to figure out, okay, well, I'm 70% CCAP. So what's the point of raising my rates? Well, our rates also help the county and the state, most importantly, determine what the fair cost of care is. And so when they raise the rates, they look at the counties and they look at private rates and they look at the household incomes and all those things. So I really encourage you not just to keep up with CCAP, but to push those upper limits, because it's what will help you stay in business and cover those payrolls and pay for kudos, as I believe Carly was mentioning, and Stephanie, so for your staff. Okay, so there's that. Any questions, comments about rates, wages, thoughts on any of those topics?
So is the new sheet up in the treasure box now, or do we have to request access to the new one?
So this treasure chest that you see here is going to, my commitment is to have it ready before Christmas. And so I've got 2 weeks. However, all you have to do is you do have to request access to this. And all I need to do is you can just send me your email and then I will share it with you. So the old treasure chest was a Google folder, and inside that Google folder was all of these Google documents and links and PDFs. So that still exists. We've merged everything over there. So we're going to kind of let that fall off the side and everything will be managed in here. So this is a Trello board is what it's called. I'll share it one more time with you real quick. So once I share this with you, you can go in here and you can open up one of these documents. And these are actually videos here. So I've got instructional videos on how to utilize this the center management tool, or we're calling it a CMT. So this is just, none of these videos are available on YouTube. They're an unlisted instructional video to show you exactly how I manage the classroom and so forth. But when it comes to the tools, you're able to come in here, open it up, and then make a copy of it, retitle it. There's instructional video of how to do that inside the treasure chest as well. So you make a copy and you retitle it for your own childcare center. So yep, just need an email and I'll be able to share this. Everything will be view only. You can click and view and check it all out. So there's lots of tools in here. Staff schedules in there, sub list. We've got a cool recipe book in here. There's like 70 recipes in there. Yep, lots of tools and stuff in there. Yeah, any other questions on that? Question for you, for the group. When it comes to food and your cooks in your kitchens, if you're providing meals for your program, my question is, would someone be interested in hosting a Zoom meeting for our cooks in the Valley? Or we could put it on the agenda for next month and talk about supplies and resources. I know that we have struggled. We used to go to Sam's Club and get 2 pallets of food or a pallet and a half, spend $2,000 of groceries in one trip. And we did that every 5 weeks. I showed up last week and they pushed it out on a little flat cart. And it was, I don't know, $500 or $300 worth of groceries. And then everything else is getting shipped. So finding product for your kitchen has been really hard. As Sam's just doesn't have it and they want to ship it, then they send you the deaded cans. We recently found, maybe someone can help me out, on North Avenue by Big Lots, I think it is. What is that kind of wholesaler
I think
Who
it's
is-
Shamrock
Shamrock.
Foods.
Yeah,
Mhm. I haven't been there yet, but I was interested.
we just went there last month or this month. I don't know. We went there a few weeks ago and got a couple big shopping carts full of stuff. They had canned goods at pretty competitive prices. We use Callaway out of Montrose for a lot of like our fresh meat and stuff like that. And we were buying some cans and they were selling it to us at like $12 and $13 a can. And yeah, we had $1,000 bill from them and kind of took a big gulp and started looking out. So Shamrock seems like it's pretty competitive. But other resources that you or your cooks are going to be able to provide food for your kids in your program. So if you're interested in that, say so. If you're watching this on Facebook later, say, yeah, let's get it on the agenda. But I would be happy to, I don't know that I'm the best person to facilitate that. I'd be happy to have one of my cooks on there. Becky is fantastic. She could talk about that, but just a round table, or if directors want to talk about it, and then bring that information back. So any thoughts, ideas, concerns about filling up your refrigerators and pantries?
Well, we actually filled out for it was like a casa kind of like you would get fresh produce from one of the local farms here. And I know there's one right here in Palisade, and she does the food banks and stuff too. And so she's like all into the grants and stuff. And so I had applied for like a field to fork kind of program for childcare centers. And I think it was more for like bigger organizations. And so hopefully they'll be offering some smaller grants. I know that's only seasonal most of the time. A lot of them don't have indoor greenhouses right now, but I thought that was a really interesting, good concept. And then it, you know, we get our food here local, you know, and unless a crop or something got destroyed or damaged, that would be the only time, you know, it wouldn't be available. But I thought that was pretty neat to do that networking with them.
Absolutely. And I envy your quick access to the Palisade farmers out there for sure. We have a little bit in on this end of the valley in Fruita, but yeah. I also saw another farm, what do they call it? Farm grant that came up too. And one of those requirements, yeah.
That's what I filled out. It was a mini farm grant or
Yeah.
something like that it was called. And
Yep.
and we filled it out together, the farm and I, and there was I think there was like, I would like to say like 4,000 applicants, and they only gave 100 scholarships out. And so
Yep.
there was a lot of demand for it. So hopefully some program somewhere will see the need for that.
Yep.
For
Yeah, for
sourcing
sure.
local food.
For sure. Okay. Well, if anybody's interested in sharing more ideas on the food stuff, by all means, jump in.
Brittany is our food program person here for the early childhood team. I'd love to get her opinion on, or maybe see if she can jump onto this meeting next time. She might have some other ideas or things she can bring to the table.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep that topic on the agenda for sure for January.
If you guys have a moment, I'd like to share some of our scholarships that we have. That's going to be
Please,
available
please.
when you guys are ready.
We are ready.
All right, let me move my camera here. We have our CDAs that are coming up. Sorry, trying to see here. Our CDAs coming up. We're going to have one in February and another one in March. The one in February will be kind of your own pace, that you work with a coach and you'll have somebody to support you through that. The one in March will be a virtual one. It's an 8-week course, and it's getting really into it and getting it completed in 8 weeks. So both of those are funded through PCF. The one in March is income qualified, but the one in February is not. They're also, if you complete it all, you get a $300 stipend at the end. And that's for you to use how you see fit. We also have our college scholarship for we offering up to $500 per course, and this can go to any college of your choice. It has to be for only ECE classes only, but we're there to support you in that area. Our EQIT is coming up at the end of January. I think our orientation is January 24th, and the class starts on the 31st, I believe. Again, we take care of that. PCF covers that. I'll put the link in chat here in a moment that gives you access to all these scholarships. And then we're starting it. We already have it full, but we have a director certification that we're working through CNCC right now. It's a 1-year certificate, and it gets you director qualified at the end of the year. We will be offering this again in 2023. And more information will be coming again. We're happy to say that we can get to do this for 3 years. We're going to scholarship 20 individuals for every one of these. And that's basically all that is right now. So, but a lot going on. So if you guys have any questions with scholarships or anything, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to help you.
Sounds great. Judy, I know last month we talked about a little bit about paid internships.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I encourage anyone, if you have a qualified applicant or someone that's on the fence that needs that extra training, reach out to Judy. Is that fair?
Yeah, Seekers. And I think I sent, somebody was interested in that. So I reached out to the Workforce Center and I got that information. I sent it to, I can't remember who I sent it to.
Yeah.
But they do have something that they can work around, definitely, to help you guys out.
Yeah. So I just think it's a great way to bring someone on, like I said, that just needs that extra help. Maybe you can't afford to staff them as an aide because they just don't, maybe they don't have the skills or they just need extra. But in this case, you could staff them as a third, as an extra, and utilize them, help train them for a few months. And with what you're risking is just love, sweat, and passion, because that's what you're going to put into this person. And I've just had so many great experiences. And I just want to caution you, if you talk to someone that says, oh, I tried that, it was like 10 years ago, and they just were never working out. Don't listen to them. Because you can interview, you give them a working interview, make sure this is someone that is hungry and interested in getting into the field. They are there, and they don't always work out. We just had one last month that was, and we were working to try to make it work, and this person just didn't quite have the job skills and the communication, and it was, we were relying on them, and then they got to take their kiddo, their friend to school today, so they can't show up to their shift because they promised them a ride, and we're going, oh man, and we worked, and then we just realized, hey, it's not going to work out. So we went ahead and ended that internship. You're in complete control of hosting this individual. But for that one story, I could share 6, 7, 8 of them that are fantastic, because I have one right now, and this individual is essentially running our FRTA Center. Started with me 7 years ago, worked full-time 3.5 years, and went off to work with Strive, Ariel, and some other programs, and circled back, and is doing a phenomenal job. I have so many staff over the years that and I just forget them. They're like, oh yeah, I started as an intern. And it's just like a regular thing. So I really encourage you to find individuals that might fit that. And remember, they need to be able to work part-time. 29 hours a week is the most, until that is over. And then you could choose to hire them full-time if that's the case. So, okay. That's just a soapbox I love talking about, because you're really providing a great opportunity to a lot of people to help them get into our field. So, all right.
Great. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to build, that workforce up. So we're here to, whatever you guys need, we're here to support you.
Got it. I don't know if there's anybody on here that is looking at the, what are we calling this? The Mesa County is looking for an early childhood educator provider, their ECE provider, to operate within the new up and coming child care center at the Mesa County ECE headquarters, I guess what you call that, in Clifton. And this is the large, 180 to 200 capacity facility. The RFP is still available. And it is, they extended that deadline till January 5th. And I know that because of the funding, and I know that there's a lot of stuff I don't know because I am a provider and some things can't be shared with me. Just as we had a 30-minute Zoom meeting on this. We asked some questions. Myself was there. There was a couple other providers. That was it. And I'm sure there's probably been one or two RFPs submitted. Request for proposal has been submitted. That's my guess. I'm not privy to that. I would be more than happy to have conversation with anybody that has any interest in that. For the record, that is not a proposal that I'm going to be submitting. So can officially take myself out of the running for that. It doesn't fit for me, and however, I would love to be able to help whoever might have questions or have an interest in just want to have conversation, whether it's on the phone, Zoom, or you want to go have coffee. I still have coffee with people here and can do that. So we can sit across the table and everything. So anyway, that's out there. If anybody has any questions, I think that without licensing or whatever, that we can have those questions. I don't know what I can and can't do, but I think I have been given a blessing to be able to offer some help or questions if you have any. So does anybody here have any questions on that? I know this is a huge project. I was really surprised it was out there for a month to decide your future, because that is a behemoth. It's an elephant. It's an elephant of a project, and you've got to be ready. So yeah, does anybody have any thoughts? Anybody that's on here? If you're watching this on Facebook and you have questions, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to have a conversation with you. And but I'm not competing for anybody for that job site. It could be a great opportunity for the right person with the right vision, with the that is looking for that kind of a partnership with the county, because I do believe it will be a partnership with the county. I think there's some great opportunities in there for someone that is looking for that type of a program and vehicle. So, and yeah, anything? My guess is those that are thinking about it or in the middle of the RFP, they're too busy to be here because they're probably working on it now. All right. Is there anything else? Does anybody have anything else today before we wrap up? That topic they want to talk about? Well, let's value our time. Appreciate you, everybody. If you're interested in receiving an invitation to that treasure chest, I'm happy to have a conversation with you. You can just send me an email. You can send it to Childcare Biz, B-I-Z, Childcare Biz Consulting. I'll throw it in the chat real quick before we leave. And I'll be able to share that with you. And that will get done by the end of the week. I would say we should be able to have that up. I'm having to upgrade my account so that I can share that. And again, everything's viewer, and there'll be some instructions that'll be put in there over the next 2 weeks between now and Christmas to help you navigate and use any of those tools in there. And it'll just kind of keep growing. It's my toolbox that we built to be able to share with those here in Mesa County. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.